What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, today I met a dude who looked and sounded, I swear to you, exactly like Timothy Bradley. Like, I was thinking it was his brother or something. He had the same kind of build, about the same height, like that athletic type of shape. He had like a Nike jumpsuit. Um, he had a little bit of hair. He wasn't completely bald, but he sounded just like Timothy Bradley and looked just like Timothy Bradley. He said his brother played football. He was trying to spend some money and like buy a ton of stuff, TV and some other stuff. But it got me thinking, and I decided to do a video. It's regarding Timothy Bradley versus Manny Pacquiao, the rematch. I want to give you the ego thoughts, let you know what I think of this possible matchup, and kind of clear the air so you have my standpoint. As far as Timothy Bradley versus Pacquiao, the first fight, I said it. I've been on record as saying it. Um, it wasn't as interesting as I thought it was going to be. I don't think neither fighter had their best performance where they met the expectations of what the fight could have done. Timothy Bradley was undefeated, still is undefeated. Pacquiao is obviously an international superstar. So I truthfully expected to see just an overall better performance from both. I mean, maybe that's being a little bit harsh. Bradley did injure both of his ankles early, and he continued to fight. So it shows you how much of a warrior Bradley is. Pacquiao just didn't look as motivated as I've seen him in the past. I mean, you got to keep in mind this is a guy who's a southpaw, which can always be tricky for an orthodox fighter, and he brings power, speed, angles, athleticism, lots of experience, and he just didn't look as exceptional. There was a point in time where he was just running through people like De La Hoya, Hatton, Cotto, um, Margarito. He was just really running through these guys, and he looked unstoppable. And I said, look, because I mean, no one's truly invincible. Um, and he didn't really show that, partly because maybe he wasn't as focused to boxing. And that's the thing with boxing. Boxing is a sport that requires your full undivided attention. You need discipline. You have to put the work in the gym because there's always someone who's willing to work harder if you're not really willing to work. So I think Pacquiao may have battled a little bit of complacency issues where he kind of started getting off into the wrong things like drinking, and he cheated on his wife, partying, playing mahjong. You guys don't know nothing about mahjong. Anyway, just different stuff. He was into politics, a lot of distractions. Maybe didn't even. Maybe he started to buy into his own hype in terms of he was running through these other opponents, as I mentioned, and maybe he started to believe that he couldn't be beat. So you had a young, hungry warrior like Timothy Bradley with a chin and tenacity, and we all know the outcome is very controversial. As far as a rematch, I don't know why this rematch didn't happen before Timothy Bradley, Ruslan Provodnikov. Anytime um, you see boxing and it ends in a controversial way, it's best, trust me, it's best that a rematch takes place just to clear the air, just to let the person know who the better fighter is. Eric Morales versus Pacquiao, if you look at their first fight, great fight, very competitive. Eric Morales got the nod. He won the fight. We also seen Pacquiao who experienced a cut, and he didn't really react too great to the cut. It looked like it seemed to bother him, and that could have been part of the reason that Eric Morales was even more energized because he seen the blood, and Pacquiao seemed to panic a little bit. Some fighters are used to dishing out the pain, but when they themselves um, get a cut or get battered, sometimes they don't know how to deal with it. Other fighters, they act like it doesn't even bother them. So it just depends on the fighter. But Pacquiao seemed bothered in the Eric Morales first fight, and Pacquiao went on to defeat Morales in two rematches. So we know who the better fighter is out of that. He won 2 of 3. The end. That chapter is closed. On the flip side, you have fights like Adrian Broner versus Daniel Ponce de Leon, who Broner continued moving up in weight. The first fight was controversial. Now, for that reason, because it was a close fight, a lot of people think Ponce de Leon won. He never rematched him for whatever reason. He's already kind of moved up in weight and went on to bigger and better things. So now, at this point, a rematch doesn't make as much sense. Ponce de Leon's already lost to Abner Mares, and Broner's moved up several weight classes since then. Now you have that black cloud hanging over your head. So, in my opinion, if possible, do the Roy Jones Jr. against Montel Griffin, do the Floyd Mayweather versus Castillo. You see the controversy, respond immediately so you can move forth with your career. And I think Timothy Bradley and Manny Pacquiao should have done that for whatever reason. Instead of looking for other opponents and Bradley almost getting knocked out by Ruslan Provatnikov with a chip on the shoulder, have an end all be all fight. And now it looks like this is probably what's likely to happen in 2014. This rematch will take place. After the fight, I heard several things from Team Pacquiao. They said they weren't really interested in a Bradley fight. He doesn't have a fan base. He'll sell 2 tickets. He's not much of a draw. Plus, Pacquiao said he knew that he had thoroughly beat him. So the fans know he won, so there's no reason to rematch. Now it looks like we're getting the rematch, which is a little bit contradicting, but nonetheless, I think it's a great rematch. I think it's a rematch that needs to happen. Everyone's talking about Mayweather versus Pacquiao. I'd love to see that fight, but to me, this is unfinished business. We need to clear the air, and I think the winner of this fight in the rematch should do the Mayweather fight. If they, for some odd reason, which it doesn't look like if you watch my 2 videos that I just posted today from Bob Arum in USA Today's interview, and then the interview with Richard Schaefer responding to Arum, it doesn't look like we're getting any closer to negotiations for a Mayweather Pacquiao fight. So, Pacquiao versus Bradley rematch, to me, is a fight that makes sense. Like I said, if they can somehow get Pacquiao and Mayweather done, which I doubt, for the first fight in 2014, so be it. I also think if they can get a Mayweather Bradley fight, so be it. Get it done. I think either of those fights are great fights for Mayweather. Competitive fights. I don't think Mayweather can go in there with no game plan or not make any adjustments. I think both of those fighters would bring a good Mayweather up to bat. I don't know that either of them would beat him, but I know they're no pushovers, and I know Mayweather would have to probably make adjustments. It's not going to be a walk in the park, if you will, against either fighter because they both bring different dynamics, and it's not going to probably be as easy as a fight with Robert Guerrero or somebody. So if they can make any of those 3 fights, you can mix and match any of those 3 players, I'm okay with it. Just speaking on a realistic note, I just don't see the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight happening for negotiation and obvious reasons. Split, and then you add on the fact that Pacquiao has this tax trouble and different things like that. It doesn't look like it's likely to happen. And if it does happen, I doubt it will be the first fight in May or March or April or whenever these guys are talking about fighting. So in that case, Pacquiao versus Bradley, I think that's a good fight. And a lot of people are getting hyped up and jazzed, like, oh, Pacquiao just ran through Rios. He's back. He's back. This will prove if he's truly back because that's a very different fighter. Bradley versus Rios, contrast in styles. Rios is more slow, plotting. You can kind of telegraph his punches, but he has a chin. With Bradley, he has a chin, he has heart, but he doesn't have the hardest punches. But where he lacks punching power, he excels in other categories like movement, lateral movement, ring intelligence, slipping punches, bobbing and weaving, better defense, and things like that. So I think it's a great contrast in styles to really gauge where Pacquiao is. Pacquiao fought a fighter coming up in weight, Brandon Rios, and he did what on paper he should have done. And I give props to Pacquiao for looking that good coming off of a knockout loss because Brandon Rios is not a pushover opponent, but stylistically on paper he did what their if they were both trading cards and you read their strengths and weaknesses, Pacquiao is the logical choice. And I've said that even though I picked Brandon Rios, I told you guys the only reason I picked Rios is because Pacquiao to me was a gamble because I don't know how he's going to look or respond after a devastating knockout, period. Watch my old videos before the fight, before the prediction, all of that. So I think it's a good contrast of styles for Pacquiao to really gauge where he's at to see if he's really back because Bradley's going to make him work for it and he's going to provide a different dynamic. Another thing is when Pacquiao fought Bradley, Bradley too just like Rios, was moving up in weight. Bradley really pretty much cleared out 140 minus Amir Khan, moved up in weight to fight Pacquiao. So clearing out the lower division garnered him the chance in the Pacquiao sweepstakes. So Bradley, that was his first fight at welterweight. Now he's had, I believe, 3 fights: Pacquiao, Ruslan, and then Juan Manuel Marquez. So he's probably more comfortable at welterweight. He's had at least 3 fights to acclimate. He's experienced tough punchers like Ruslan and Pacquiao, and even Marquez too. So I think this fight overall is more dynamic. Plus, in the first fight, he had the ankle injuries. So I want to see how healthy for 12 rounds with more experience Bradley looks against Pacquiao, who seemed to rejuvenate his career off of the Rios win. So let me know what you guys think. Brandon Rios performance. After that, do you want to see a Pacquiao versus Bradley fight if the Mayweather fight can't happen? If not, who do you want to see? I doubt a Cotto fight will probably ever happen because Cotto's training with Freddie Roach, and Freddie Roach trains Pacquiao. So I really doubt we'll ever see a Cotto rematch. Plus, Cotto's already thinking about Sergio Martinez and Canelo and different shit towards the end of his career. So overall, I don't know if Cotto wants that fight or if Pacquiao would even want that fight. Ruslan Provodnikov, another good fight for Pacquiao, but they're chums, they're friends, and I think Ruslan went on record saying that he'd rather retire than to face Pacquiao. So I don't know. I don't think that fight's likely. So Pacquiao's running out of stablemates or opponents that Top Rank has. Juan Manuel Marquez is vehemently stating and declaring that he doesn't want a fifth fight with Pacquiao. It could be a negotiation ploy. He might be serious. So we don't know if that fight would take place. Let me know what you guys think. Pacquiao versus Bradley. Is that the fight you want to see if the Mayweather Pacquiao fight, of course, can't happen? Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.